So we have the E major Prelude and Fugue. This is another one of my favorite starters because as preludes and fugues go, it is not just physically manageable, but manageable intellectually, right? So the prelude is another Sicilian, this is called. Let me do at least half it. Let's see how it goes. Between dry, unemotional, and uninteresting playing, and Bachmanian. I think the truth is somewhere in the middle, where you can shape the phrases, you can be expressive, because after all, so many of my transfer students say, well, harpsichord couldn't do dynamics. Well, although harpsichord was not the only instrument, and in fact, we know from Nicholas Forkel, who was Bach's biographer, that Bach wouldn't even listen to you as a pianist until he heard you play on the clavichord, which is the direct precursor of the piano, really, where you could do a lot more dynamics than we can do on the piano. You could crescendo a single note, you could do vibrato, you could be in intimate contact with the music. So I think all of these stories about how you got or Borsia. I mean, really, right? So let's not. But now I'd like to talk in some detail about the fugue, as promised. This is one of those fugues that can be used, to teach a class on fugue writing because it's straightforward. Right? So again, every fugue we start by looking for the subject. Come on, subject. Here we go. The subject is cool. Right? It consists of two parts. It consists of that very distinct da-da, and then a bunch of runny 16th notes. Okay, so that covers quite a bit of a piece. It's quite clear how to play it. Make sure that you really go up, down, right? And then there's a distinctly audible rest where Bach puts it. There's more cool stuff because you can see how much of this is left without color. So some of the more hilarious things that happen is extra da-das. I think Bach meant them as a kind of a joke, or like what my son says, a troll, right? He's trolling us into thinking there's going to be another subject, and it's just not. It's just the subject head. But it's hilarious. It's like answering the subject, and so much fun to look at, and still a lot of area that needs explanation. So to continue our understanding of a fugue, we look at the counter subject. This counter subject of running 16th notes is derived pretty much exactly from the back end of the subject. But the question becomes, do we treat it the same way, or do we do something different? In my opinion, in the subject itself, articulation should be almost non-legato, almost. But when the same material happens during the episodes, it can be much stickier, much more overlapped, so that we know, your listener knows, here we are in the area where there's subject, and in the area where there is no subject. And it gives us so much variety. But even in a small field like that, we have more gifts from Bach. So look at the fascinating walking bass in the left hand. That's the new orange stuff that just opened up. I think of it as kind of like a double bass in a jazz club. Right? That means it cannot be a short staccato because that's not what a pizzicato sounds like on the bass. And it cannot be too fast because you can't imagine double bass doing that. It's a walking bass for a reason. And finally, one more fascinating little thing, which tends to go together with the walking bass, is a series of appoggiaturas. The most commonly used expressive device really in all ages and eras, but especially so for Bach. And so now we've got the whole thing covered, and let's see if I can actually play. How fascinating. Just one of the simplest fugues. And there's so much in it. Imagine how much there is in all the others, right?